Thursday, July 16th on News 6 Nightside. Entry forms available wherever Pabst beer is sold. Must be 21 to enter. Limit 5 entries per person.
A 30-square-mile radius surrounding the Nemadji spill becomes a security zone. We'll take you there. Cleanup workers prepare to use the latest techniques to clean up the spill. We'll explain that. And will the booms hold? We'll have a report. These stories and much more next on News 6 Nightside.
You're watching KBJR, your 24-hour news channel. News 6 Nightside with Michelle Lee, Carol Hall's weather, and Tom Hansen with sports. The news starts now.
A toxic cloud engulfs Duluth and Superior, forcing people from their beds and the evacuation of tens of thousands, while seeping chemicals create an environmental crisis that has yet to be fully determined tonight. Good evening, I'm Michelle Lee. Cleanup crews will work through the night, hoping to keep the spill under control, while National Guard troops surround a 30-square-mile area, keeping everyone, including homeowners, out for an indefinite period. It's now been almost 20 hours since a Burlington Northern train derailed, sending toxic chemicals into the Nemadji River. Some of the most dramatic pictures of this wreck have come from our Twin Cities affiliate, the only station to actually have a reporter at the site. Rick Kupchula brings us this first-hand report.
The Burlington Northern crisscrosses the Nemadji River here about a dozen times with every train, but it only took one miss to jeopardize everything. Some of the most basic elements of life are now threatened. The air, the water, is tested at every turn.
A half-dozen cars have fallen completely off of the track. 3 of them, tanker trucks, right into the area near the river, one exactly in the river. These are 3 tanker trucks behind me here, and officials say at least one of them carries benzene.
The cloud is not benzene. We don't know what the cloud was made of. All we know is what the chemical was that was released, and then we had a cloud afterwards.
This tanker car landed squarely in the Nemadji River. It created an unnatural dam. Slowly, it creates a stream of its own, a toxic waterway comprised mostly of benzene. That hits the water. Other chemicals fused with Duluth's heavy fog, creating a toxic cloud that landed squarely over Duluth today. The town vacated.
So where are you going to go?
I'm going to go up over the hill, up over Skyline.
And
breathe the fresh air, not the gas air.
Nothing could be trusted here, not the city, not the air or the water. The townspeople fled. Meanwhile, toxic waste haulers went to work on the wreckage, wearing self-contained breathing suits. They tried to sponge up the spill. It's getting safer, they say, but anyone within 30 square miles may not be allowed home for days.
Rick's pictures were shot before authorities slapped a flying ban over the area, which remains in place yet tonight. Superior officials are battening down the hatches at this hour, and their long, hard day is not nearly over. A day that began at 3:45 this morning looks no closer to ending for people in the contaminated zone. Heather Filkins is standing by right in the middle of all of tonight's activity. Heather, what is the status of this spill at this hour?
Well, Michelle, right now we have some really late-breaking news happening here down by the benzene spill here on the Nemadji River. Apparently, Bay West, who is in charge of cleaning up this spill, says there is debris collecting on 2 booms, which is keeping the benzene contained on the river. Now, if that debris continues to combine on the booms, that will mean that the booms will break and the benzene will start flowing directly into Lake Superior. Very dangerous. There is a major fish kill going on here tonight. The environmental aspects of what this benzene is doing to the environment is just untold at this point. Now, right now, we're talking about a lockout of people here as well. There is a 5-by-6 square mile radius that people are not being allowed into. That is between Highway 35 at NC, Baumgartner Road, Irondale Road, and Highway 4. Now, everything, everyone, every living, breathing human being is being kept out of that area. There are about 40 families that have been displaced. Now, the National Guard is on scene here trying to keep order. With me now is Lieutenant Jason Ray. Lieutenant Ray, tell us, what is the National Guard's function here tonight?
Basically, we're here to assist the city and state police that are holding people out of the area and try to keep things as smooth running around here as possible.
Have you been dealing with the people who were in this lockout area?
Excuse me?
Have you been dealing with the people who are in this lockout area?
I haven't personally. Some of my people have been going around with the officers and helping the people to get out of the area.
All right, thank you very much, Lieutenant Ray. Okay, National Guard is on the scene. We've got Superior Police Department, Fire Department. Everyone here is keeping people out of this area. Reporting live, I'm Heather Filkins. Michelle?
Heather, how long will this lockout continue?
Well, there is no telling, Michelle, how long this lockout will continue. Tommy Thompson has declared a state of emergency here in Douglas County. The National Guard will be on scene until he calls it over. The Coast Guard actually will call this safe. And after what's happening on the Nemadji River right now, who knows when it will be considered safe. Reporting live from the lockout area, I'm Heather Filkins. Back to you, Michelle.
Thank you very much. Well, there has been a lot of calls from people returning home tonight who say they still smell the chemical in the air. Authorities say that smell is not dangerous. Tests show levels of benzene have decreased to almost nothing. Now authorities are sitting back evaluating their performance today, and how well did they do? Lauren Bergen brings us their plan to handle a hazardous disaster.
The word of a dangerous chemical spill traveled quickly through the Douglas County Emergency Operating Center, which then alerted the Douglas County Sheriff, the Superior Police, and Fire Departments.
Establish a command post near the site. We employ our incident command system.
Captain Pukimo says the county's emergency plan to handle a hazardous transportation accident went into effect at 3 a.m. The first to arrive on the scene was the Fire Department. They noticed the rail cars were marked hazardous material and ordered residents near the river to be evacuated. Then the first part of the battle began.
Our first thought was to contain the product, and the Coast Guard this morning spent most of our time, besides trying to coordinate things, to get some boom out there. And this is a containment boom that floats on the water and it collects the product behind it. And we were able to get 2 booms out. We put one out, the Superior Fire Department put one out. And we think they did a pretty good job of corralling the product that was moving downstream.
A vapor cloud developed, and Park Point residents, then eventually most of Duluth, was ordered to evacuate. At 3:30 this afternoon, Duluthians were allowed back on the streets, and it was time to praise the response teams.
Years and years of training goes into something like this, and they have the mock emergencies that take place from time to time, and this was the real thing. And fortunately, the training that has been done over the years has paid off.
Overall, officials say they were pleased with today's response efforts and say they will not make any revisions in the procedures in the event of a future oil spill. In Superior City Hall, I'm Laura Bergen, News 6 Nightside.
Crews will remain on the scene throughout the night and for several days. Tomorrow, crews will be cleaning up the Nemadji River with a new technique. They'll be throwing a powder called no-char into the river. The powder solidifies flammable liquids and forms pink rubber balls about the size of softballs. Those balls are then scooped out and burned. The company that distributes the powder, Black Duck Fire and Safety Equipment, says it is environmentally safe and was used successfully during the Persian Gulf War to clean up oil spills there. Authorities say there have been no reports of major injuries as a result of this spill. However, area hospitals have had a number of people call and come into the emergency room for treatment of health problems associated with this spill. St. Luke's Hospital, for example, treated about 15 patients with symptoms of benzene inhalation. 5 of them were members of the Duluth Police Department. Doctors say unless you were directly exposed to this chemical for a long period of time, you have nothing to worry about. The level of exposure for most residents of the Twin Ports was very minor.
Acute toxicity is exactly what we're talking about today with regard to a cloud that people will get in the way of an inhalation of. And that's largely respiratory symptoms, irritation, maybe in a real strong dose. There might be some fluid seeping into the lungs, but we haven't seen any of that at this point. This would probably be more the people that are directly next to the spill and getting just extremely strong concentrations.
Again, doctors say any of these symptoms should pass in a matter of hours. Decontamination is accomplished by moving an exposed person to fresh air or by washing the exposed skin with water for 15 minutes. After the cloud of benzene held them hostage for most of the day, thousands of Twin Ports residents are finally free tonight. Duluth officials lifted the evacuation ban at 3:30 this afternoon, and earlier tonight the stragglers were taxied home by the National Guard from Central High School. The school had provided thousands of residents with relief from the benzene fumes. And how do those residents feel about the return trip home?
You guys all happy to go home?
Yes! Definitely.
Of course, a select group of Superior residents nearest to the spill are still barred from their homes yet tonight. Well, the weather was a big factor today. The first welcomed rain shower fell late in the afternoon. Carol Hall is joining us now with a look ahead to tonight and tomorrow. Carol?
The rain did help, Michelle, but now we're concerned that the rain may cause additional problems with debris in the booms trying to contain the spill. Tonight, we are looking for a chance of rain. That was not the right information on the screen. A chance of rain, and that will continue again tomorrow.
All right, thank you very much, Carol. Still to come tonight, the rest of the day's news. Mike will have the latest on the Eric Lindros.
For greater comfort in about an hour.
News 6 has already been thinking ahead to tomorrow. We will have crews out the door as soon as daybreak to follow up on today's benzene spill. We'll have a full evaluation of today's efforts for you on News 6 at 6. Now, late reports indicate that it took several hours for cleanup crews to begin working at the site because protective suits weren't available. We'll get down to the bottom of that. That is for the news, or rather, that is our news for tonight. We thank you for staying up with us here on KBJR. We hope today's disaster coverage helped you through your day. For any overnight developments, be sure to join Janine Johnson tomorrow for local reports during the Today Show. We'll see you tomorrow. Until then, good night.
Men's wardrobe provided by Reinhold's, Miller Hill Mall, main entrance.